Hi guys, welcome to CAT 2025. We are going to be discussing your PYQs today. But before I begin, let me quickly ask that you should share this session with your friends and family and other groups so that people can join in. Also remember to like the session and also to subscribe the session. Remember, without subscribing, you will not be able to participate in our chat. So therefore, please do make sure that you subscribe and also hit the bell icon so that you can get notifications, guys, for uh, further classes. All right. Remember, like we've been discussing in all our sessions, we are talking about vocabulary for the first few minutes and then we take it on to other topics. So for today, the vocabulary for today, let's quickly take a look. I know some of you will say, why doesn't ma'am open up a fresh sheet? But I quite like it like that. All right, so here are my two words for today. The first one is pre. This my roots for the day. Let me say that pre and post. That's my second root. Pre and ante both mean before. Okay, and post means after. So wherever you will see pre or ante, you know it is before or old, prior, and post will mean after. So therefore, you have some very interesting words with pre. So, for example, premeditated. So something that you have already thought about. Okay. Uh, Post facto. After a thing has already happened, that's post facto. Prenatal, something that is happening before birth. You also have postnatal, which means after birth. The root word nat, of course, means birth. You have ante-meridian, which means the time before 12. And you have post-meridian, which is the time after 12 or afternoon, right? Similarly, you have an antechamber, which means a smaller room before a larger room. You can also have a post chamber, which means a smaller room after a larger room, an office room or something like that. Then you also have words like anterior and posterior. So anterior means before, the front side of something, and posterior, of course, means the back side of something. So here are a few words from the same set of roots. I'll just quickly discuss one more root with you for today and then we will take it forward. So our second root for today is gen. Gen means birth or creation. Now, from this word, we can get a lot of words, right? So for example, you have genius, someone who's very brilliant. You have genuine, which means honest. You have ingenious, which means clever. You have ingenuous, which means naive. You have ingenue, which is a very innocent young person, right? You have generator, so creator. Okay, you have generation, a set of people who have come at the same time, right? So see, there are so many words that you get from the same root. Progeny. So pro we were just discussing, right? Pro means someone who comes before. So progeny is children. Progenitor, on the other hand, is the person who creates it. So parent is progenitor. Okay. So I hope you got these words from the root word gen. If you can find any more words using the same root word, do let me know. All right. So pre, ante mean before, post means after, and gen means birth and creation. So hope you got all of these words. Let's continue with our session for the day. I hope all of you have joined. Here is a passage. We will first take 2 minutes, discuss the passage, and then we will carry on with the rest of it. I'm giving you 2 minutes to read. All right, guys, I hope you have read it. And now let us quickly go to the questions. The first question here. Based on the passage, which of the following can be compared to human memory in its function? So, is it a kaleidoscope which reflects different colors when reflected from different angles? An organism who makes the effort to adapt itself to the changing surroundings but is not very successful? A register where all the transactions of a company are recorded and safely stored at all times? An adaptive test algorithm which modifies the difficulty level of the question based on the student's ability? Or is it a computer code which, when used for different purposes, can make changes to itself with each purpose? So let's take a moment and see what the correct answer should be. So here, the correct answer here is option number E and not A, B, or C, or D. So this is given in the third and the fourth paragraph where you will find that how the computer code changes itself every time. So I just want to point out to this. So you should be able to find it here. Uh, Recalling an event in a new context can lead to a new information being inserted. Okay, so our memory is to improve to face the future, etc., etc. So here you have stuff which tells you that every time something new is created. Okay, so therefore your answer is going to be option number E, code which when used for different purposes can change itself with each of the purposes. Okay, all right, let's go to the next one. Which of the following captures the essence of the passage? What is the passage talking about? Is it that human beings are prisoners of their past? Is it that human memory is fluid in nature? Is it that human memory's primary purpose is prospection, as evidenced by various studies? Is it that human memory is future oriented and not past oriented? Or is it that human memory doesn't just help human beings to retrospect, but also improves their ability to face the present and the future? Let's take a moment and wait for your answers. Um, The correct answer here is C, that the primary purpose of human memory is prospection, as you can evidence by various studies. That they're prisoners of the past is not the correct answer, that it is fluid is not the real essence of the passage. Okay, it is just one of the aspects that the passage talks about. Human memory is future oriented and not past oriented is not something that we have spoken about, and that it doesn't just help human beings to retrospect but also improves their ability to face. So that also no. So the best answer here is going to be option number C. All right, let's take a look. The next question. So you have to read the following situations, and then which of the following situations would weaken the link between memory and prospection as per the passage. So passage says there is a link between memory and prospection. Which of these will weaken? Let's take a look at our options. Option number A says a person who suffered from partial memory loss but still performed his routine bodily functions. B is a young novelist who was unable to write about the things that she had never experienced. A venture capitalist firm that successfully projected the profits of a startup without any data, experience, or expertise in the matter. Option D, a CEO who tapped into her vast experience in mergers and acquisitions for acquiring a new company. And option E, a fortune teller who was able to accurately predict a natural disaster without ever having been the victim of one. So, which of these will be the correct answer? Which of these will weaken the link between memory and prospection? Take a moment, read, and then find out what the correct answer will be for me. All right. So we've already said that there is a link. So when you have memory, you have some link, there is some connection that is happening. So if there is no connection, then can we really say that there is a link? So if you look at option number C, which says that there is no data, there is no experience, or there is no expertise. Without any data, experience, or expertise, you're starting something. So the minute we say this, then C becomes the one that is the correct answer. So option number D, only C is the correct answer. None of the others will work here. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, so here are 5 statements. You have to arrange them in the correct order and identify which of these will be the correct order. So question number 4, for centuries, haggling was the norm, ultimately developing into a system that required clerks and shopkeepers to train as negotiators. Option B says, by taking a moral stand, the Quakers inadvertently revealed an inefficiency of the old economic system. In the mid 19th century, Quakers in the US began to believe that charging people different amounts for the same item was immoral. So they started using price tags at their stores to counter the ills of haggling. Belying its simplicity and ubiquity, the price tag is a surprisingly recent economic development. And the fifth one becomes, they became improbable pricing pioneers, changing commerce and history with one simple innovations. All right, so take a moment, read, and then tell me what the correct answer should be. I will wait for your answers. All right. So you can give me your answers. In the meantime, let me also start by helping you understand. So here, one very beautiful set was set statement A and C. So you start by saying that for centuries, haggling was the norm. And there was a system, right? You haggled, the clerks and shopkeepers negotiated. But in the mid 19th century, the Quakers said, you should not haggle, you should not charge different people different amounts, and that's immoral. So they said, here is a price, and that's that. So that is how the price tag came about. So AC is a very beautiful pair we have. Then also B and E is another pair which says, by taking a moral stand, the Quakers inadvertently reveal an inefficiency in the old economic system. And then they became improbable pricing pioneers. Who was this? They, the Quakers, of course. So now I have two pairs, AC and BE, and my problem is that AC has to come before BE, right? So the sequence is going to be ACBE. Okay, so let's quickly take a look. I've got option A, B, C, E, D, not AC, so I'll eliminate A. Option B says ACBE. Okay. Option number C says D, ACBE. Okay, so I have got ACBE in two options. I've got option D which says BCAED. No, so I'll eliminate. And option E which says ACEBD, I'll eliminate that also. So I've got two options. One is starting with D, one is ending with D. Now, if you look at statement number D, which says, belying its simplicity and ubiquity, the price tag is a surprisingly recent economic development. So isn't this the start of the story? It's such a beautiful starting point that here you are, the price tag is the start, is a surprisingly recent economic development. And then you talk about how it happened. So first haggling was the norm, then the Quakers decided to bring in the price tag. So therefore, the best place for this for statement D would be right in the beginning, right? And so option number C should be the correct answer and not option number B, which is a close second. So if any of you did get, let's say, option number B, well, you're almost there. So that's also a good thing. All right, let's go to the next question. Here we are. It's a filler. You'll take 2 minutes, read and solve. All right, let's take a look at this question. Very beautiful question. It says, India has some external vulnerability. What kind of external vulnerability is supported by a relatively something domestic financing base for government debt, which contributes to the economy something by sheltering it from some sort of changes in external financing conditions. Okay, so these are random changes, unplanned changes. Okay, so I'm looking for option blank number 4, something which says random or unplanned. So minute will not work because minute means very small. So would you really require to shelter something from minute changes? No. Again, that same rule or logic applies with insignificant also. So I will eliminate option C and D also. Now mundane changes cannot be mundane. So therefore I'm eliminating option E. So the only one that will work is abrupt. So let me fit abrupt here. And let me try and see what other words fit in. So India's limited external vulnerability, okay, it's very small, is supported by a relatively stable domestic financing base for the government debt, which contributes to the economy's resilience, okay, resilience, by sheltering it from abrupt changes in external financing conditions. Well, this is such an easy question, but the only thing was which blank you should have started from, right? So therefore, correct answer option number B. I hope you got that. Okay. Which of the following sentences contain correct and meaningful usage of the underlined words? Okay, let's just quickly go through and see what is this correct sentence. Again, I'm giving you a minute. Read, solve, identify. Now, if you are to look at this question, there are two things. There are two parts of the sentence. Do both these parts, what sort of a relationship do they have? Do they have a causal relationship or a contrast relationship? Or is it a continuation of thought? So, there is probably a causal relationship between the two sentences. That's because he's saying Mr. Bindra, the colleague, is older, and that's why he's disagreeing with him in a respectful manner. So age is leading to respect, right? So I require a word that which shows a causal relationship. So therefore and is not possible, so I'll eliminate B. Therefore but is not possible, so I'm eliminating C. Therefore but is again not possible, so I'm eliminating E also. So I've eliminated B, C and E. Between A and D, because both of them have. So I'm going to look at this. Now the word elder or older, these are the two problems, right? Should I use elder or should I use older? Now because he's a colleague, okay, please understand you will use for age older. Elder is used generally for people in your family, right? So therefore A would not work, B would work, okay? So much older than I am. Okay. So that will work. The am is understood, of course. So best answer for us, option number B. All right. Here's the next one. Okay. Here's a poem, RC. We'll go through the poem, then we'll read it together, and then we'll try and solve the questions. I'm giving you 2 minutes. All right, let's read this poem and let's try and understand. Now, this clearly is a very Sufi poem, right? Now, the Sufi poems generally talk about lovers. Okay. This, however, this is not you and me as lovers. This is a person and his love for God. Okay. That's what we're saying. So, the lover's food is the love of the bread. No bread need be at hand. Okay. So, he's saying that The lover's food is not the bread itself, it is the love of the bread, the love of the idea. So there is no really need for bread to be there. So physical thing not required. No one who is sincere in his love is a slave to existence. So if you're sincere in your love, then you don't really need to exist for love to be there. So you can be in love with something that's non existent also. You can also be non existent for the love to exist. Lovers have nothing to do with existence. Lovers have the interest without the capital. So, lovers, like I said, you don't really have to exist for love to be there. Lovers have the interest without the capital. So, you have interest, but you don't have the capital. So, there is love, but there may not be anything physical there. Without wings, they fly around the world. Without hands, they carry the polo ball off the field. So the lover does not really have wings, but he can go anywhere. Similarly, they can play anything, they can do anything. There's no physical existence of the lover that is required. That dervish who caught the scent of reality used to weave basket even though his hand had been cut off. So there was this dervish uh, who would just keep weaving the basket even though he didn't have hands. So it was just the love of the weaving that was happening. Lovers have pitched their tents in non existence. They are of one quality and one essence as non existences. So he's saying that the lovers, they are living in non existence. They don't really need a tent, so they can just imagine that they're there. So they are of one quality and one essence as non existences. So essentially saying that love does not require physical things. Okay. It can exist in the non physical, right? Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the questions. Here is the first question. What is this reality that has been talked about in the poem? Is it so? I'm just going to bring it up for you. I'm going to remove myself so that you look at this poem. The entire thing has said that you do not need something to exist for there to be love. So, therefore, clearly one cannot be a possible answer. Okay, I'm going to eliminate. Also, 5 cannot be an answer because he's saying the reality of non existence to be glimpsed through existence. So, A and E we can eliminate. The skill of weaving basket on which his existence depend, that is also not the reality that we are talking about. The supreme reality that is not dependent upon material existence, and that is what we were talking about. The reality of everyday on which again existence is not dependent on anything of the lover. So therefore the correct answer or the best answer here is going to be option number C or 3. All right, let's look at the next one. What is the closest interpretation of the line, lovers have the interest without the capital? Again, let's take a moment, read and understand and identify what the answer clearly, guys, should be option number 1A and not any of the others. We can clearly eliminate option number D also, because it says lovers have nothing to do with their material existence, which is an extreme option. We know that, right? So we can totally eliminate that. All right, the correct answer, yes. All right, that brings us to the end of today's session, guys. I hope today's questions were interesting for you. And that you enjoyed the session as much as I did. Of course, you know that poem RCs are a definite part of ZAT, and they're very, very exciting for us. All right, with that, we come to the end. Thank you so much. Remember, I had asked you to read something. For the next session, let me ask you to read something from Aeon Ideas. Okay, so do go ahead and read. If you are one of our CL students, then please go to my zone and to the reading zone there and read one of the articles from there. Okay. All right, with that, we come to the end of today's session. Thank you, guys. I hope today was helpful and useful. Do make sure you join in. Of course, Fridays and Sundays are the days for us, 1 p.m. Right? See you. Remember to hit the like button. If you haven't hit the like button, share the session with your friends, and also subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can get further notifications for all our sessions. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.